Hi everyone. It's been challenging times for all of us ever since the COVID-19 outbreak happened nearly 15 months ago. A lot of us are still unsure as to how things will unfold because a lot of countries are experiencing surge in COVID-19 cases still. And a lot of us will be working from the basement of our homes maybe in the next few months as well. I am an educator and I know the struggles of teaching in an online remote learning environment. Whether it's giving an online lecture or teaching a lab-based course, it is challenging. In this video, I am going to show you how you can use OBS Studio to create customized interactive scenes that you can project on platforms such as Zoom and provide students with an amazing virtual classroom experience similar to that of a regular class experience. And I promise that these interactive scenes are going to help you increase student engagement in your class. Watch out. For example, when I'm teaching electric circuits lab, I like to project myself on the screen, as well as use an overhead camera to focus on my hands as I'm building a circuit. At the same time, while I'm busy explaining circuit mechanism, I also don't want to lose students' attention and address any questions that may pop up on the Zoom chat. I can also add other camera sources to capture oscilloscope and digital multimeter readings. Similarly, when I am teaching an electronic course that may involve a lot of programming, I again like to project myself on the screen while explaining the code as well as displaying the hardware to see the implementation of code in real time. Such customized scenes can exponentially increase student engagement in class as well as provide better understanding. Now this may look a little fancy and expensive, but actually it is not. This is a very basic height adjustable table, perfect for someone like me who likes to stand and teach because that gives me a feeling of being in an actual classroom. Here I have a single pole LCD monitor screen mount along with adjustable 3-tier arms. One arm is connected with the laptop tray that I sometimes use to mount my iPad as well as the laptop. Second arm is to mount my old Canon DSLR that I use sometimes as a webcam. And the third arm is used to mount the studio lights for adjusting the light and temperature. I will leave the Amazon links for the hardware items in the description below. Finally, I have an overhead mounting gear to hold the camera or cell phone. This is roughly a $500 setup. However, you don't necessarily have to have this overhead gear because you can also get something like this for overhead mount for a very less price. And you can have a similar hardware setup just like me for roughly $400. To download OBS Studio, visit obsproject.com/download. Choose the appropriate installer for your device. It should take roughly a minute to install the installer package. Click Next again, and then click Install at a location of your choice on your PC. Once the installation is complete, click Finish. OBS Studio has launched. First thing you want to do is to get your video settings right in OBS. It's a good idea to set this once and not mess around with it again, as every time you adjust it, you will have to resize all your overlays. It's best to use a 16:9 aspect ratio, so a resolution of 1920 by 1080 is recommended. This is the amount of space you have to fit your sources. And you also want to make sure that this matches your monitor display resolution as well. The output resolution is used when recording in OBS by taking your base resolution and flattening it down for the encoder. I suggest you keep it 1920 by 1080 also. For audio settings, I suggest changing the sample rate to 44.1 kHz. You can also add and select up to 2 desktop audio devices and up to 4 auxiliary/mic devices. I am using a PC mic and I'm going with that by default. You can keep all other settings default. If you like to live stream your lectures on platforms such as YouTube or Twitch, you can do that here by simply entering your stream key, selecting the server, and that's it. We are going to start with this scene first, which is actually great for laboratory or workshop based courses where you are trying to show your audience what you are working on. We will create a new scene by clicking on this plus icon here under scenes window, and we give it a name. I'm going to name it as SS Scene 1. I'm then going to add all my media and other sources I need by clicking plus icon here under sources window, and you'll see many options here, and I'll explain them as we create different scenes. First, we will add a mic. Click audio input capture, rename the source. I'll just stick what I have here by default. Once I click OK, this input audio source will appear at the bottom under add existing in the future, which means next time I add an audio input source, I can simply select from existing sources here. Notice as I added the audio input source, it will also appear here under audio mixer, and as I record this video, you can see the audio bars moving back and forth. Second, I'm now going to add a webcam to which I will project the instructor on the scene. You can choose video capture device this time, rename the source, and hit OK. Choose the device. In this case, I'm using my PC webcam. Make sure you activate the source. I go by default settings and hit OK again. And you will see the webcam added to the scene. Now remember, if you don't see your webcam, you have to make sure that your webcam device is not being used on any other channel or scene, or any other software such as Zoom. Otherwise, you will not see an output here. You can now press the Alt key and crop the window, adjust the size, and position it on the scene to your liking. Next is my overhead camera. Canon now allows most of their DSLRs for use as webcam after you install the EOS webcam utility package. I select that package here and hit OK, and you will see the overhead camera on the screen. You can again press the Alt key, crop the window, adjust the size, and position it onto the scene to your liking. Next, I'm going to add a browser window that I will use to navigate to a website. In this scene, I'm going to use Tinkercad as simulation software to do simulations. Hit the plus sign again, click the browser as a new source, rename the source, copy paste the URL, adjust the height and width. I suggest you go with the base resolution, which initially was set to 1920 by 1280. Hit OK. To interact with your browser source, right click and choose Interact. A window will pop up on your screen. Use the browser and interact with the page, and as you do so, you will see the real-time navigation on the scene. Just like you see the motor rotating here as I change the resistance using potentiometer. If you put the browser source at the top, it will overlay all the other sources in the scene, and you can always hide it once you are done with simulations. I'm now going to add Zoom chat window. Select Window Capture under Sources to capture any open window on your PC. I'm going to choose Zoom window here and hit OK. I will then again crop the window to focus on the chat only. Make sure not to close the Zoom window or minimize, else you will lose the chat. Same goes for all the other sources as well. Now that I have all my major sources added to the scene, I'm going to adjust the size of the windows to fit the scene and position them the way I like. I like them to position such that it creates better understanding for the students and easy for them to follow. Remember that sources you don't want to focus at all times, you can hide them by deactivating the scene icon and then activating it back again whenever you want to bring it on the screen. You can change the overlay by arranging the order of the sources here. Remember that the source that appears at the top will appear at the front of the scene, and similarly the source that appears at the bottom will appear behind sources above it. You can also add a text such as the date or course name to the screen by choosing the text option. Enter the text in the field and select the color and size. Sometimes when I am building a circuit, I like to bring up the schematic as well. So I add the image of the schematic diagram to the scene so students can better follow and understand what I am doing, which part of the circuit I'm working on. You can do that by adding an image to the sources. Upload the file and hit OK. Once you are finished building a circuit, you can hide the image source. And finally, when I'm analyzing a circuit and taking readings, say on a multimeter or an oscilloscope, I like to use my iPad or iPhone as my third camera source to project the readings from the equipment. You can use apps like IV-Cam or APowerSoft to connect your device with PC. So this was our scene 1, and like I said, it is great for someone who likes to do hands-on stuff and is actually fantastic for a laboratory-based course. Scene 2 is similar to Scene 1, and it offers similar features, but I use it a little differently to my purpose. This scene is going to be a perfect scene for a coding class or for an instructor who likes to do a lot of simulation. Here I am projecting myself, Vivado, the simulation software that I'm using, and Zoom chat window. I will also add an overhead camera source, image, and media sources such as video to say demonstrate an idea or a concept. I'll start with simply duplicating scene 1 I created earlier. I'm going to rename it, remove the sources I don't need, and only add sources that I am missing. Here I can hide or remove the browser source since I don't need that. I will add a video source now. Click on the plus icon under sources, choose media source, select the video, and hit OK. You also can change the speed of the video here if you like, and run it in a loop if needed by checking this box here. And it's important for me because I like to show my students the end product first, the code that we are working on. The creation of that code and the implementation of the code is going to generate this output. I will now add another window source for the simulation software I will be using. I also need to change the source of my image from the last scene here, and I can change the text if needed, but I'm just going to keep it as it is. Finally, I will adjust the size of all the windows, put all sources in the order, overlay them as I need, and I'm all set. Here, for the most part, students will see the instructor and the coding software plus the Zoom chat, and you can bring in other sources when needed. Here, bringing in sources such as RTL schematic and video from time to time while I am working on the code allows me to better explain the code and its implementation to students. For scene 3 again, I would duplicate the scene, add or keep sources I need, remove or hide sources I don't need. Here I'm going to share my iPad screen using an iPad recorder from aPowersoft and include it in my scene using window source. I will then adjust the size of windows and put all sources in the order. This is my regular scene for any lecture class where I like to project myself, annotate notes on my iPad, and periodically monitor the Zoom chat, and bring up other sources as I may need. It is a great scene for someone who's doing a lot of derivations, solving complex engineering problems in class, great for math and engineering classes. I hope from here you can customize your own scenes that fits your teaching style and method. The best part of OBS Studio is that you can project these scenes on Zoom and other platforms. All you need to do is click on Start Virtual Camera, go to your Zoom, click on the video, and select the OBS Virtual Camera. And then whatever you have on OBS Studio, you can project it on your Zoom window. You can record these scenes and create videos also, as well as you can live stream these videos onto platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you for watching. Bye!